Now, I can understand when rules are put into place for certain reasons, but sometimes there are rules that I think need to be reevaluated. Now, I understand completely why I was let go due to the fact that I took something like this, mostly a bottle size, without paying for it, as well as a snack, not just once, but on several occasions during this whole pandemic at my old job. And it wasn't until like in September that they finally, you know, I guess caught me and basically said, sorry, we got to let you go. Now, I haven't been as vocal, but I have been understanding. But here's the thing though, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes stupid and dumb mistakes, and I'm not alone in that, especially when it comes to the job. But here's what gets me. If you're a multi-million, if not multi-billion worldwide conglomerate retail company that makes more money than anybody can obviously count, then it shouldn't really matter too much if you lose a couple of hundred or maybe a $50 or $20 totals worth of soda bottles or whatever. Now, I'm not saying that it is wrong, it is, but if you're a multi-billion-dollar company, it shouldn't really matter that much, right? You could always replace that. I mean, from a local retail perspective as well, it shouldn't matter because your store generates in revenue more than I think anybody can imagine. So I can understand the policy of letting somebody go because of that and basically putting the, you know, blacklist on them for quite some time and saying, hey, you can't be rehired. But that's the thing though. I don't think that needs to be around. I don't think that blacklist of non-rehireable policy for any store needs to be around because again, we all make mistakes. We all do. And we also all got to realize that sometimes, retail stores, they lose a lot more financially than, what it costs for a can of beer or a can of soda, a bottle of soda, whatever. They lose a lot more. There have been several times when I would work at my job and I've witnessed some people, trying to run out with stuff. Heck, one time I was on break and I was coming back from it. I think it was, no, it was lunch. Yeah, it was a break, my lunch break anyway. And I was coming back from it and I go back, and I've mentioned this before, I saw a car parked like right here, suddenly it comes up and I'm wondering, can I help you with something? And he says, oh, no, I don't need to talk to you. And the next thing I know, I'm walking past, because I'm thinking, okay, whatever, that was weird. So I'm walking past, and then the next thing I know, I turn my head, and there's somebody, coming out of the emergency exit of the garden center with a bunch of stuff, piling himself along with the stuff into the car and driving. And that guy that I just confronted drives off with it. Basically, they stole the stuff. And I had to inform security about it. I had to let them know. And yet, losing that, which is a lot more, revenue-wise, a lot more expensive to lose than a bottle of soda, and yet I get canned. It just doesn't add up. Again, I understand the policy, and I respect the policies and all that. I get it. They're there for a reason. But really, I think a lot of retail stores have to reevaluate those policies. They have to look at those policies and be like, okay, obviously they made a mistake. They didn't mean to. Maybe what we could do, instead of firing them, maybe we could just suspend them without pay for maybe a month, maybe two, and then they can come back and hopefully they've learned a lesson. That would be more efficient, or sufficient, I should say, than basically firing somebody over something that in total costs less than what I saw get stolen one time. And there have been people that have been trying to steal stuff that's a lot more than that. I mean, again, one of the things we would sell at my job, are things like this, but a lot bigger. And I've heard about people that have gone out of the store with those without paying for them. And then when somebody tries to stop them, they rush to the car, get in the car with the stuff as fast as they can, or the vehicle with the stuff as fast as they can, and take off. There was one time a guy literally with a mask on like this, like what we're supposed to wear now, but it was a scarf, I think, and a hat. And he was dressed suspiciously, like why? And I think it was during the summer or the spring. And he's walking in like that, and I'm looking at him like, okay, we're gonna have to keep an eye on that guy. And usually, sometimes I could be wrong because maybe that's just how people like to dress. But nope, this guy tried to sneak out with a lot of stuff. He tried to sneak out. And how do I know? Because he walked back out like a half hour later with nothing. And then as I'm walking, back from I think one of my first breaks or my lunch break, I noticed a cart full of stuff, and then I find out later on who was it about. That's what I find out. And then I think he tried it again, and he tried to go out one door, he got stopped, and then I explained to them what he looked like, to my store managers and the security, and they're like, oh, well, that makes sense. The point is, a company that, like where I used to work for, loses a lot more on a daily basis sometimes than they want to admit. And it's not just with the store I worked with, it's stores all over. So letting someone like me go over something that in comparison is, not worth the time isn't right. And the policies need to be rechecked. The policies, not just of where I worked, but everywhere else, needs to be looked at, once again, gone over, and maybe reevaluated and changed to where if something like what I did happens, instead of firing, you suspend. You suspend for 2 months, 3 months, whatever, but not fire. Because then afterwards, after the suspension, when that person can come back, hopefully, like me, they would have learned their lesson. But again, policies like this, they need to be reevaluated, rechecked, looked back at, because they are just ridiculous, guys. They are just ridiculous in my opinion. They just are, because again, a retail company that sells a bunch of stuff, electronics, clothing, food, loses a lot more on a daily basis than they do when compared to something like this. So that's just my thoughts though, guys. What do you think? Do you agree that the policies need to be changed, or do you think they should remain as they are? Let me know down below. Comment if you like. I am out.